Good morning, everyone. It's Rick. It's August the 13th, 2017. If you need to contact me, if you're interested in making a donation to receive the paperwork, it's rick0327@me.com. Please reach out to me first before sending a donation. Okay, that's the way it works. I can't, being that I'm the cheapest game in town for donations by far, I still cannot rely on people to make a donation for what my paperwork is. What I know it's worth a lot more, but what I'm asking, okay? A $20 donation is not going to cut it. I know you might have money problems, whatever. We all do. You don't have a $20 problem, okay? Child support is not a $20 problem. So, but for about 6 times that, you can get a lot of paperwork and information, okay, to start the ball rolling, to start the process, okay? And again, there is no silver bullet. And anybody that's telling you is lying, they're lying to you to get to your money. All right? A lot of predators out there in this, big time. I'm the opposite. I probably, if I was really doing this for money, a lot of money, I just like a little bit of money for what I do. But if I was really going to do this to make money, I wouldn't nearly give out the information that I have. Okay, I'd be very brief and say, come on, if you want to find out how to get off child support, reach out to me, and then I say, okay, well, give me a donation, and I'll tell you the rest. Okay, but so what I'm thinking now, I keep telling you guys about the Writ of Mandamus. I have the paperwork. It's and it's again, if you made a donation in the past, you got to make another donation for this paperwork. It's different paperwork. It's going to a different court. And again, with a Writ of Mandamus, what they're doing is you're going to take, remember, you reached out to your employer. You reached out to the child support agency. You filed paperwork with a judge, and the judge is ignoring case law. The judge is refusing to comply with the Constitution. What a Writ of Mandamus does is it forces the higher court, forces the lower court to perform a ministerial duty they're required by law to perform. Required by law. Okay? So, if your employer is taking your property and you send a letter to cease and desist and to provide you with a proof of a warrant, because your property can only be seized by a warrant under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, but they're refusing to comply. You file a Writ of Mandamus. Child support agency, you sent a validation of debt letter. They're giving you the runaround. You got an attorney sending you a letter saying, well, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or the law says you got to support your child, all this bullshit. But what he or she is doing is they're not sending you the proof what you asked for. Where is the debt? Where is the court order? Writ of Mandamus. Okay? A judge or a fake judge in a lower court is issuing an order. It's void. It's failing. It's failing to follow the rules of the court. All right? 28 U.S.C. 1691 has to be signed by a clerk. of the court. If it's signed by a deputy clerk, it's void. Okay? The judge or the fake judge is refusing to comply with precedents set by the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court. Any decision, any opinion by a Supreme Court, this is why if you follow the news and whenever there's an opening for a Supreme Court seat, it's such a big deal, is because when they make their opinions, it becomes law. It becomes law of the land. It becomes binding law. So, if the Supreme Court says that a judgment issued by a non-judicial person is void for lack of jurisdiction, that's all the proof that you need that these support orders issued by a support magistrate, friend of the court, the Attorney General's office attorney, any of these persons who are not judges, quorum non judice, are void. So what the writ of mandamus will do is the highest court must tell the lower court judge to perform a duty required by law without discretion. Well, there's a case law that says under Rule 60B, a judge has no discretion but to void or vacate a void judgment because it's void. And the purpose of a court is to remedy a wrong. Okay? So that's what writ of mandamus does. For those who don't understand how important it is. And if you look it up, there's lawyers that do that specifically. I can tell you in the New York area, there are lawyers that do just that. That's their specialty. In New York, in the state of New York, they're called Article 78 hearings because under the civil practice law rules, the rules of the court, in the state courts, Article 78 is writ of mandamus. Okay, again, that's to compel. A writ of certiorari is a judicial review. Usually a judicial review of an administrative act. Or it could be a judicial review, it's of an administrative act. Okay, so if you have a fake judge, a non-judicial person presiding over a support proceeding, it's an administrative proceeding. So even though you might be inside of a court building, it's still an administrative proceeding. I said it in an earlier video. If you have a judge performing an administrative act, it's not judicial because it's the act that they're performing. Okay? Child support is an administrative action when it's performed by a non-judicial person, or these support proceedings. Okay? And then you have writ of prohibition. Now, these three things that I'm telling you, they're under Article 78 in New York State. In your state, all you gotta do is look up. They're usually together. Now, what a writ of prohibition does is it prohibits an officer of the court, a non-judicial person, a judge, an agency, a bank, your employer, prohibiting them from performing an act that is unlawful or in excess of their jurisdiction. Now, under the Fourth Amendment of the Bill of Rights, a child support agency is not authorized by law to issue a piece of paper, an income withholding, that acts just like a warrant. Okay? It's illegal. And the 14th Amendment supports you on that. The 14th Amendment says that any state law or statute created that deprives you of a right guaranteed in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, it's unconstitutional. They do it all the time. And that's what this stuff does. So a writ of prohibition will prohibit them from performing an act in the future, in the present, and in the past. Sounds just like an appeal, but it's a different, it's not. So you might want to do this before you appeal it, because before you appeal, you have to have jurisdiction established. If you don't establish jurisdiction before an appeal, it's your fault. And the courts have said it. So while you're in that district court, the trial court, you have to force them to show jurisdiction. Well, we know that they don't do that. That's another purpose of the writ of mandamus, to compel the court to present evidence of jurisdiction. Now, we have all of these things put together. You got my paperwork, you did all this stuff, you're all lined up, you're ready to go. All you need is a letter from one of these agencies, from the bank, from your employer, child support agency. All you need is a letter from them telling you they're jerking you around. They're not providing you what you asked for. You're ready to go. And also, let's say you're one of these people, a lot of us, they don't have any money in the bank. You also bring your bank records and you file in the court an application under forma pauperis. FORMAPAUPERIS. Okay? That's under 28 USC 1915. It states that if it's an application to file in the court, it's usually an appeal, but you can also file it in the state courts. If you could prove that you're indigent, you don't have the means to pay the court fees, because these court fees are a lot. I mean, in New York alone, it's $300 just to file this action that I'm telling you about, the Article 78. This is how they get you. They force you into being broke, that you can't defend yourself. But by doing this, you can, hopefully get the action started, the petition filed for it. Now, if you are to do this, a writ of mandamus, you now become the petitioner. In the other actions, you're the respondent usually. Okay, and you always stay the respondent, because we're fighting that order, that support order. This is very confusing to a lot of people. Whenever you file a petition, you are the petitioner. That's how it works. If you didn't file a petition, you're the respondent, and it doesn't change. Okay, so I'm going to end the video right there. Again, if you're interested in getting the writ of mandamus papers, reach out to me at Rick0327. All right, enjoy the rest of your day.